Memphis, Tennessee. Beale Street. Elvis Presley, 19 years old, white kid from Tupelo, walked down Beale Street alone. It was the heart of black Memphis. Blues clubs, gospel churches, soul food restaurants, music everywhere. White people didn't go to Beale Street, not in 1954. Segregation was the law. Black and white didn't mix. But Elvis went anyway. He walked into a small club. All eyes turned to him, the only white face in the room. The music stopped for a moment. Everyone stared. Elvis didn't leave. He sat down. He listened, and he absorbed everything. This happened every week, for years. Elvis would go to Beale Street, listen to black musicians, watch, learn, absorb. And that's where it all began. 23 years later, when Elvis died, the question everyone asked was, did Elvis steal rock and roll from black musicians, or did he honor them? The answer is more complicated than most people think. In the 1940s and early 1950s, there were two separate music worlds in America: white music and black music. White music was clean, polished, safe. Artists like Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Bing Crosby. Black music was raw, emotional, dangerous. Artists like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Big Mama Thornton. White radio stations didn't play black music. It was called race music, meant only for black audiences. But young white kids started finding it anyway, sneaking late-night listens to black radio stations, buying records from black neighborhoods. Elvis was one of those kids. Growing up in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis lived near a black neighborhood. He'd hear gospel music from the churches, blues from the juke joints, rhythm and blues from the houses. "That's where I learned to sing," Elvis said years later. "From black gospel, from black blues, that's the music that moved me." When Elvis was 13, his family moved to Memphis, and that's when he discovered Beale Street. He'd go there as often as he could. Not to party, not to drink, just to listen. B.B. King, who performed on Beale Street in those years, remembered seeing Elvis. He was just a kid, quiet. He'd sit in the back and watch. Never said much. Just absorbed everything. In 1954, Elvis walked into Sun's studio. Sam Phillips, the owner, had been looking for something. "If I could find a white man with the Negro sound and the Negro feel, I could make $1 billion, Phillips had said. When Elvis started singing, Phillips knew he'd found it. Elvis's first single, That's All Right, was a cover of a song by Arthur Big Boy Crudup, a black blues singer. When it came out, nobody knew what to make of it. White radio stations didn't want to play it because it sounded too black. Black radio stations didn't want to play it because Elvis was white. But then something unexpected happened. Both sides started playing it. Black audiences loved it. White audiences loved it. For the first time, a song was crossing the color line. And that's when the controversy started. By 1956, Elvis was the biggest star in America. Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, Don't Be Cruel. Every song was #1, but not everyone was celebrating. Some black musicians felt betrayed. "Elvis is doing our music," they said, "but he's getting all the credit, all the money, all the fame." Little Richard was particularly vocal. "Elvis copied my style," he said in interviews. "The hair, the moves, the energy, that was mine, and white America gave him everything for it." Jackie Wilson said, "I taught Elvis how to move on stage, and then he became the king, and I'm still playing small clubs." The criticism was real, and it was valid. Elvis was making millions, while black musicians who had created the sound were still struggling. But there was another side to the story, a side that didn't get told as often. B.B. King told a different story. "Elvis never stole from us," he said. "He loved our music, he respected it, and he never claimed to invent it." King continued, "When people asked Elvis about his influences, he always said, 'I learned everything from black gospel and black blues.' He never took credit. He always pointed back to us." In 1956, Elvis was asked in an interview, "Did you create rock and roll?" Elvis's response, "I didn't create anything. I just brought together what I heard growing up, gospel, blues, country. But the real pioneers are people like Arthur Crudup, B.B. King, Fats Domino. They're the ones who created this sound." That quote didn't make headlines, but it was significant. Elvis, at the height of his fame, was giving credit to black musicians in 1956, in segregated America. That meant something. In 1957, Elvis was scheduled to perform in Memphis. It was a huge show, sold out, thousands of people. But there was a problem. The venue was segregated. White people on the main floor, black people in the balcony. Elvis found out about this the day of the show. He went to the venue manager. "I'm not performing if it's segregated." The manager was shocked. "What?" "You heard me. Either everyone sits together or I don't perform." "Elvis, that's not how it works here." "Then I don't work here." The manager panicked. This was the biggest show of the year. He couldn't cancel it. So he agreed. For one night, the venue was integrated. Black and white audiences sat together, watching Elvis Presley. It was a small act. But in 1957, in the South, it was radical. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. The country was in chaos. Riots broke out in cities across America. The divide between black and white America felt deeper than ever. Elvis was devastated. He'd grown up with black music, black culture, black neighbors. And now, the country was tearing itself apart. He wanted to do something, but he didn't know what. His friends suggested he make a statement, say something publicly, but Elvis refused. "I'm not a politician," he said. "I'm a singer. I can't solve this." Instead, he did something quieter. He called B.B. King. "B.B., I need to talk," Elvis said. They met at a hotel in Memphis. No press, no cameras, just two friends. "I don't know what to do," Elvis said. "This country is falling apart." B.B. nodded. "It's been falling apart for a long time, Elvis. We've just been living in it." "But what can I do? People listen to me." "You've already done it," B.B. said. "You've always respected us. You've always given credit. You've never pretended you invented what we created. That's more than most white musicians do." Elvis shook his head. "That's not enough." "Maybe not, but it's something." They talked for hours. About music, about race, about America. And by the end of the conversation, Elvis had made a decision. He would keep doing what he'd always done. Play the music he loved, give credit where it was due, and hope that in some small way, it made a difference. In the 1970s, Elvis started including more black musicians in his band, in his shows, on his albums. James Brown, the godfather of soul, was asked about Elvis in a 1973 interview. "Do you think Elvis stole from black musicians?" Brown laughed. "Stole? No. Elvis brought black music to white America. He opened doors. After Elvis, white kids started listening to black music. They started buying our records. They started coming to our shows. Elvis didn't steal. He built a bridge." Brown continued. "And let me tell you something else. Elvis always showed respect. He never acted like he was better than us. He knew where the music came from. And he never forgot." Little Richard, who had been critical of Elvis in the 1950s, changed his tune later in life. In a 1989 interview, he said, "I was angry at Elvis for a long time. I thought he took my style and got rich off it. But as I got older, I realized something. Elvis didn't take anything from me. America took it from me and gave it to him. That's not Elvis's fault. That's America's fault." Richard added, "Elvis loved black music. He loved us. And he tried, in his own way, to honor us. Could he have done more? Maybe. But he did more than most." When Elvis died in 1977, the black community mourned hard. B.B. King said, "I've lost a dear friend. Elvis was a good man. He loved our music. He respected us. And he never forgot where he came from. James Brown said, Elvis Presley opened doors for black musicians. Whether he meant to or not, he did. And for that, we owe him respect. Even Little Richard, who had spent years criticizing Elvis, said, The world has lost a great talent. Elvis took our music and made it his own, but he always gave us credit. And in the end, that's what matters. In Memphis, thousands of people gathered outside Graceland, black and white, together, mourning the king of rock and roll. One woman, a black woman in her 60s, was asked why she was there. Because Elvis gave me hope, she said. He was a white boy who loved black music. In a world that told us we didn't matter, Elvis told us we did, not with words, but with his music. And I'll never forget that. So did Elvis steal rock and roll from black musicians, or did he honor them? The answer depends on who you ask. Some will say he stole it, that he took black music, repackaged it, and became rich and famous while black musicians stayed poor. And there's truth to that. Elvis made millions, while Arthur Crudup, the man who wrote That's All Right, died broke. But others will say he built a bridge, that he brought black music to white audiences, that he opened doors, that he always gave credit. And there's truth to that too. The reality is complicated. Elvis didn't create rock and roll. He didn't invent it. Black musicians did. Blues, gospel, rhythm and blues. That's where it all came from. But Elvis took that sound and brought it to the world. And in doing so, he changed music forever. Did he profit from it? Yes. More than the black musicians who created it. And that's a tragedy, a symptom of a racist system that valued white artists over black artists. But did Elvis respect the music? Did he honor the people who created it? Yes. Always. He never claimed to invent rock and roll. He always pointed back to his influences. He integrated his shows. He hired black musicians. He fought, in small ways, against the system. Was it enough? No. It was never enough, because the system was rigged, and no amount of respect from Elvis could fix that. But it was something, and to the black musicians who knew him, it mattered. B.B. King said it best. Elvis didn't steal from us. He learned from us, and he never forgot where he learned it. That's not theft, that's respect. Today the debate continues. Was Elvis a thief or a bridge? The answer is both, and neither. He was a product of his time, a white kid who loved black music, who learned from black musicians, who brought that music to white America. He profited from it. He became famous from it. He became the king. But he never claimed to be the creator. He always gave credit. He always showed respect. Is that enough? Maybe not. But it's more than most. And maybe that's the real lesson. That music doesn't belong to one person or one race or one culture. Music is a gift, passed down, shared, borrowed, built upon. Elvis borrowed from black musicians, and he built something new. And in doing so, he changed the world, for better or worse, for profit and pain, for fame and respect. Elvis Presley didn't steal rock and roll, but he didn't create it either. He was the bridge between black and white, between past and future, between segregation and integration. And maybe in the end, that's the most important thing he did, not becoming famous, not making millions, but building a bridge. In a country divided by race, Elvis brought people together with music, and that's a legacy worth remembering.